Hey, what's up guys? It's Shane again, and I want to go over all of the first generation monsters in Little Masters and give you some insight on the monsters based on my experiences so you can make the choice whether or not you want to raise them or not. The reason why we're calling them first generation is because they're the first monsters to come out with the game, so that's why. And as you see here, I have each of them raised up to level 50, and the ones that can evolve, I have them fully evolved. If you have any questions on which monster evolves from which, be sure to check out the Little Masters wiki. I will post the link down below in the description box, or you might just be watching it on the wiki already. I'm going to start off with the fire monsters first. There are 5 of them total. The best one, hands down, is Alchemander. He has pretty good stats, and he owns the strongest fire type move in the game, Burst with a power of 150. This kills a lot of things in one hit, and if it doesn't kill him, chances are it's going to burn them, and they're going to die from the burn anyways. So he's really strong. I would definitely recommend putting one of them in your team. Barbecue, he's like a weaker version of Alchemander. I wouldn't really recommend using him. Domalo, he's actually pretty interesting. His attacks aren't all that strong, but his one move Ignition is really good. It doesn't deal that much damage off the bat, but it burns the target with strong fire for 5 turns, unlike a normal burn, which isn't as strong, and it's only for 3 turns. So Ignition is pretty good. I do remember in my testing, I had this guy at level 41, I believe, and I was fighting against a Mangrodon, and I burned it with Ignition, and it was taking like 80 some damage per turn. It was pretty ridiculous. Then again, I had pretty good special attack, so that's probably why. But either way, Ignition is very strong over time. Kirakok has the same ability, Ignition, but Ignition is a special attack, and his other offensive move, Tackle, is a physical attack, and you don't really want to split attack and special attack fruits. It's kind of bad for statting, so I don't really recommend using him. Mumboom is kind of like your special status inflictor. He can inflict sleep and poison. He only has one offensive move, Fire Strike. It's okay, but I don't really recommend using him. Next up we have 2 water monsters. Walrus is probably your only choice if you want to run a water monster in your team. All of his attacks are physical attacks, which is great. And his ability Hard Punch, it gives 50% increased damage for normal physical attack. And his normal physical attack is Slam with a power of 125, and that deals a lot of damage. I just prefer to stay away from water types because they take double damage from 4 different elements, and I really don't like that, especially since a majority only take double damage from 2, so it's kind of limiting. I really don't like it, but he is pretty good. He's the best water type out of the 2. Next up, Clubroot. I thought that this guy was the strongest physical attacker in the game because he has heavy attack at a power of 100 and slam at 125, but I found someone better who I will talk about later. And besides, he is a water type, which, like I said, takes double damage from 4 different things, and he doesn't have any water moves. They're all normal, so that's not really that great. There are 3 fly types in the game. First up, we have Owl Edge. He is like the cause of a big debate now. Some people think he's too powerful, but that's another topic for another time. He is really good. He's the best special attacker in the game. His ability Adept, instead of 50% bonus for the same attack type, you know, the special type attack bonus, if you use the same type as your body, it deals 50% more damage. Instead of that, it deals 100% bonus, so it's dealing twice as much damage as it should. So he is powerful. I don't really think that he's overpowered, but he is the best special attack sweeper in the game. So definitely pick up a Thug Owl and evolve into Owl Edge. Benekfly, I was really impressed with him. I didn't think he would be all that great. His stats are pretty good, and he has a ground attack and a dark attack, so it's kind of nice. Oh, his ability is pretty good too. It auto recovers the status that lose control at the end of the turn, like Confusion, stuff like that. Anistork is not really all that great. All of the monsters which don't evolve kind of end up having bad stats, so I don't really like them because they're not powerful, obviously. He has Run, which is a physical attack, and then Surf, which is a physical attack, but Wing Attack's a special. So, like I said with Kirakok, you don't want to split attack and special attack. It's kind of bad. I don't really recommend using him. But Thug Owl is definitely, or Owl Edge is definitely the best fly type out of the 3. Next up, we have 2 grass types. Mangrodon is definitely the better out of the two. His ability Regenerate is really, really good. Heals 10% of hit points every turn, and this is pretty insane in PvP because if he beats somebody in PvP, he can heal twice off of this ability. So that's definitely something to watch out for. It's really, really good. He can also hold his own against fire types, which is one of his weaknesses because he has a fly move. And if he can hit first and make it flinch, then he's pretty much all set. So he's definitely the better out of the two. Lokrobat is not really all that great. He has a pretty good attack spread, you know, with the normal, grass, and dark. All of them are physical attacks. But even with 50 out of 50 growth value, his stats are very lackluster. Also, his ability is kind of strange too. Quicken, reduce skills cooldown by 1 turn, but he doesn't, like, none of his moves have any cooldown, so, I mean, you'd probably have to breed with him and make him get different attacks to get, like, a cooldown move or something, or just teach him a move that has cooldown with one of those, guild events. I don't know, he's just not really that great. There are 2 electric types, and they are both really, really good, surprisingly. The first one, Krakrow, he is the special attack electric type, and Kaparnik is the attack electric type. And like I said, they're both really good. Their stats are relatively high. Krakrow, he has lightning, which paralyzes the target, and it only has a cooldown turn of 1, so you can easily alternate between lightning and touch, and just, you know, keep doing that, paralyzing the opponent. It's pretty good. Paralyzed doesn't always have a 100% success rate, but it is really nice whenever it takes off. Kaparnik, on the other hand, he doesn't have any status-inflicting moves, but Killing Strike has a high increased critical chance, and that's really good. And he also has the dark move Bleed, which is very good against grass types, especially Mangrodon over here. You see a lot of that in PvP. So they're both really good. I like to run both of these in my PvP team, but it's all just personal preference. If you like Krakrow, then use him, and if you like Kaparnik, then use him. Pershire is the only dark body type in the game, and he's very, very good. He has a wide variety of offensive moves. He has a normal, a dark, and a poison, and they are all physical attacks, so he's very, very easy to raise. Also, his ability, Share Pain, it gives 50% chance to spread a negative status to the opponent. Like, for example, if he's inflicted with Confuse, chances are the opponent will be inflicted with Confuse as well. So he's definitely a top contender. I really like him a lot. There are 2 ground types, and they are both really not all that great. For Duel, as you see here, I have a 50 out of 50 growth value, and his stats aren't anything to call home for. The hit points are kind of high, but that doesn't justify any of the other stats. The same with Kurat. I put 50 out of 50 growth value, and his stats are even worse. But then again, he doesn't evolve, so that's probably why. For Duel's moveset's not all that great. Crush, it's stronger than Trick. It does the same thing, but it's not as accurate. And the ground move, it's kind of whatever. It's really good against like electric types, but it doesn't do anything against Fly, and Owledge is pretty strong in PvP, so kind of like to avoid that. I had really high expectations for Kurat because he has like a wide variety of moves, but like I said, the stats aren't all that great, so I will not use him. Jestray, this is the guy who I said was a stronger physical beat stick than Clubroot. He has an ability Mock Strike. It's a strong attack but low accuracy, but it has a high critical chance and has a power of 90. So instantly, that's already a strong move. And his ability Cold Blood, the critical attacks deal triple damage instead of double. So that's very, very strong, and I like that a lot. He also has Trick, which can make the opponent flinch and has an increased speed. So that's always nice too. Rolling, it's kind of alright. It decreases the physical defense of the target by 1 level. But I definitely like spamming Mock Strike because dealing criticals, you can just wipe out people in 1 hit, and it's pretty nice. Zwergnome, he has an interesting ability, Endurance, which means he can't be killed in 1 hit, but say he already takes like 40 damage or whatever, and then you kill him in 1 hit or whatever, then it's not going to kick off. So it's an interesting move, but it's not really worth it. He's kind of like Ferduel with his attacks. He has Crippling Kick and Crush. Same moves, not all that great. Oh, there are two normal monsters, him and Jestray. But Jestray is definitely the better, and he's one of the top contenders. I like him a lot. Next up, we have Stegoleon, who's the only metal type in the 1st gen, and I really like this guy a lot. Metal is the only type of move that deals double damage against normal types, so definitely take note of that. His ability Mark Target is pretty good. The accuracy is increased by 20%, and that ability is proactive, meaning it's always working. It doesn't have a trigger. and you just always have it, so that's pretty good. He also has the ability Confuse, which is one of the strongest type of stats inflictors that you have, and his stats are pretty average too, so I really like him a lot. Lastly, we have Pupam, who is the only poison type in the first gen. Back in the day, he was the best monster because Trick had like a 90% chance of making the opponent flinch, so you would just use it over and over again until they're dead. But now they kind of dumbed it down. I would say it has a 60% chance of making the opponent flinch, so it's definitely not as effective. Besides, Trick is a special attack, and his other offensive move, Jump Attack, is a physical attack, and you don't want to split the offensive stats, especially on a monster who does not evolve and doesn't have that greatest stats to begin with. You see, I have 29 out of 50, and they're already looking pretty bad. So I don't recommend using Pupam anymore, even though like he was good back then, but now he's not that good. So that sums it up for the first generation monsters. I do have a couple monsters that are bred from the first gen, but once we figure out all the combinations and how breeding mechanics actually work, then I'll make a video about it. But we're still in the process of learning all the combinations and stuff, and actually how breeding works. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you have any more questions on any of the other moves, feel free to check out the wiki. I will post the link down below in the description like I said, or if you're already on the wiki watching this video, then definitely browse around there, solve some of your questions. Other than that, like I said, I hope you found it helpful, and take care guys. Thanks for watching.